Welcome back again, Power App enthusiasts, to the Power App tutorial channel. We are continuing with part 2 of creating a custom page for a model-driven app. If you're new to the station, please hit that subscription button and add that notification bell. And don't forget to hit that like button if you learn something new. It helps with the algorithm. But let's just jump ahead with the video. So in the last video, we stopped with the creation of our width formula, which is search underscore container dot width minus combo bus dot width, and that's what we're going to use for our placeholder. So we should be done with that. Let's move on to the next container, which is the animal table header, and we're going to make some adjustments on the side. So move to the side a little, and the first thing we're going to do is go down a little and turn off flexible height. And then we're going to adjust the height. Give it a height of 50. All right, that looks good. I'm going to zoom in a little. I'm just going to be moving from side to side. Yeah, I think this is better. All right, so one more thing we're going to do is we're going to add some color. Let's give it some color as the header. Okay, so our animal data header is good. Let's start adding some controls inside. First control we're going to add is obviously going to be a label. Now I need about 8 labels. 2 of them are going to be placeholders, and the other 6 are going to be words. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate one more label. And then for the last label, we're going to turn it into a word. And before we duplicate that. All right, so I went ahead and renamed the labels. So the first one, which is the placeholder, is going to be the image head placeholder label. And to rename a label, you just need to go here and rename this. Why do we have... Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, it's just a duplicate. So just delete this too. I decided to leave it on so you can see how I make modifications. We probably didn't delete that. See, this is one of the beauties of using Power Automate. You can just take away and add and remove columns. All right, let's get back to our image placeholder. And I wanted to make some adjustments. The first adjustment I want to make is this flexible width. We need to turn flexible width on, and then we're going to change the width to 80. We're going to make the width 80. And for the height, parent.height. And just leave it like that, and I'm going to do the same thing for icon placeholder. So for the height for this, we change this to... All right, and then we can... I'm going to align center, leave it there. For width, make the width 75. And this time around, do not, I repeat, do not turn off flexible width. So leave the flexible width on for the icon placeholder. And then that should be done with the icon. Let's move on to the name header label. So for the name header label, well, the first thing we're going to do is change the label. We're going to change it to name. And I'm going to move this so that we can see what we're actually modifying. This is the label we're modifying right now, the name label. And then I'm going to change this to bold. Font size should be 14. And then for heights, I'm going to use parent.height. All right, so now that we have that, two more things to adjust. We're going to turn on flexible width for our neighbor header, and then we're going to give ourselves a minimum width of 150. All right. All right, there's one more thing I want to adjust with this. So go to the advanced tab, because I can't find it here, and that's the padding. And that's why I said sometimes you might need to go to the advanced tab. So go to the advanced tab and let's look for padding start. I want to add 10 to this. All right, I'm back. So I decided to add 5 because 10 kind of pushed it out a little. So I added 5 to the padding bottom, padding in, padding start, and padding top. And that's what we're going to use for our name head placeholder. All right, I think we're looking good for our name head. Now I'm going to duplicate this. So let's copy the name head label, copy it, and then for the cl click on the animal table header and paste. We need 6 more, so that's 1. Awesome. So we're back and we have all 8. 6 of them are the name and then 2 placeholders. I want you to click on the icon placeholder. So click on the icon placeholder, and then if you look to the side, there should be like 3 dots. Click on those 3 dots. And for reorder, go to move to end. So I want the placeholder to move to the last. Awesome. And then at this point, we can remove this text label. So just cut it out. So it's going to be a blank over there. Let's see what's going on the left side. I'm going to do the same thing for my image placeholder. I'm just going to take out that label, cut it out. Awesome. So I'm going to rename this. I'm going to rename the rest of the labels and rename the text. So to rename the label like before, we just go here, go to the label, rename this label, and I'm also going to rename the text. All right, I'll be back when I'm done renaming them. Okay, I'm back and I'm going to zoom out a little so we see how everything looks. Okay, name type, age, and then let's zoom back in and make some more changes. Okay, now that we're done adding the labels, we need to modify the behavior of the labels based on the screen type. And we're going to start with the image placeholder. So for the image placeholder, click on the image placeholder label, and on the drop down label, look for the visible property. And we're going to change this visible property, put in this code. So we've seen this code before. So what we're saying is if it's a desktop, let it be visible. If it's a tablet, let it be visible. But if it's a phone, it shouldn't be visible, and on. And then the default is going to be, it's going to be visible. Now I'm going to use the same code for the age. So for the age label, if you click on the age label and go to the visible section, put in the same code. So this is for the age. But for medical conditions, and medical treatment, we're going to use a different. So for click on the medical conditions header label and go to the visible tab and put in a different code. This time it's going to be, and this is going to be the code for the medical condition. This time around, we are saying if it's a desktop app, let it be true, but if it's a tablet, it shouldn't show up. And we're going to use the same code. So that's for the medical condition, the visible tab. And if you go to the medical treatment too, I want you to put in the same code. So for medical treatments label, put in the same code. It's going to be visual for desktop, but invisible when it comes to a tablet and a phone. For the shelter status, we always want our shelter status to be visible, so leave it as true. And also, so for the image placeholder, change the visible to true for desktop and then make it false for everything else. So this is going to be the behavior of our model-driven app. So let me zoom out a little. The image placeholder is going to disappear, and the only tabs that are going to be showing is going to be the name and the type and the age with the shelter status if it's a tablet. But if it's a phone, the only thing that's going to be showing is going to be the name and the type and the shelter status, and everything else is going to disappear for the labels. All right, we're going to do the same thing for the gallery. By the way, we're going to add tabs to the gallery, and then there are the tabs that we don't want to appear. We're going to use the same code where we say if app dot after screen is for. So, but anyway, let's just jump ahead and get that over and done with. So this shouldn't be fast. We're going to do this as fast as possible. So starting with the gallery, the first thing we need to do is grab our data source. So let's just add data. We are looking for animal table. Okay, so it's animal info for this solution. All right, now that we've gotten that in, let's go back to our tree view. And for gallery, under items, we're going to put in the same code we used. So to fix this error, I would go to the app checker and click on the error. And the first error is saying name isn't valid. So just click on that and it will take you directly to what's causing the issue. This item.sample text, I'm going to change that to, so we're going to use animal name to replace that. And what is the second error? Second error, if you click on it, it's taking us to the sample header. So that's the title. I'm going to change this to, okay, so now that we don't have any more errors, I'm going to close this down and then let's expand a little. Let's see what's going on with this. Okay, and let's rename this. Let's rename this labels and the image. Um, so I want you guys to notice something. Now one of the labels is bold while the other isn't. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna delete the one that is not bold because I know why it's carried that bold. It's carrying a tag that checks if it's the item that is selected. So we're gonna delete that one and then I'm gonna change this to animal name. With the Would it change to name? Let's adjust this label a little bit. So I'm gonna scroll to the right. Let's adjust this label. Now let's change the properties using this. So the first thing I'm gonna change is gonna be the position. So for the position, put in the drop down menu. All right, so we're gonna put the position at name.header label.x. So it's gonna take the name header label's position, and then we're gonna change the size to, especially the width. So click on the width and put in, or some we put name.header.width for the width, and then for the height, you already know it, parent.height. 42 for the height. And now we should have a good enough looking column. I do want to fix this image, so let's click on the image and grab our image, which should be, oh, we need to use a code for the image. So click on the image, and then on our image sample, type in, so click on the image and let's grab our image, which should be using the formula. We change it to this item. Okay, so we change the image to this item dot animal photo. All right, so we're looking good so far. I'm going to change the label. And just like before, we're going to adjust the width for the image. I'm going to make it 50. Make the height again also 50. And then I'm going to go down to the border radius and make this 30 so we can have our circular shape. And that looks good so far. All right, two more things we need to change for the photo, and then we can move on to the animal name. And it's going to be, so still on the image animal, click on the drop down label and hit the accessibility label. This is used in case we have people who have, visual ailments and they can't see, they can use this. And we're going to change this to color animal image for the accessible label. And the last thing we're going to change for our image is the visibility. And we're going to put in our new special code. So the code is to check if it's a desktop, it should be visible. If it's an iPad, it should be visible. But if it's a phone, it shouldn't be visible. And that's what this code does. Now you can modify it as best as you want. You can decide you want to keep the image and take out maybe some other fields. But this is what I chose. Okay, so now that we're done with the image, let's focus on our labels. We make some adjustments and then we can duplicate it. I'll start with the font size. Okay, so change the font size to 14, and then I'm just gonna duplicate this guy, and then we'll start making some adjustments from that point on. Let me grab this. Just right click to copy, and then just go straight and paste it. And at first it's gonna go straight to the label because remember when we created the animal name for the position, We set the position. Let's see, where is the position? Go to the bottom right. So the position is saying name header dot label. So all you have to do is just change the position to type. So let's just do that right now. So once you change the position to type header label dot x, it will move to that position. And while we're here too, let's also change the text property. So it's going to be animal dot to animal type, and then we're going to also change the width. So right now it's saying it's taking the name header width. We're going to change this to type. So it's going to be type header label dot width. All right, before we continue, there's a behavior that I'm seeing that I want to change. So let's start with the label name. Click on the label name, and I want to go to font weight. So right now it's saying semi-bold. Changes to, if this item is selected, font weight semi-bold, else font weight normal. This is the behavior I want. I want when it's selected for it to be bold, and when it's not selected. So for the type, and I'm going to change this, let's change the label. So instead of label name 1, it should be label type. And for the font weight, let's change it to, instead of saying semi-bold, it should say the same thing. Okay, so this is the behavior I want. Right now we're gonna duplicate this guy. So just copy, and I'm gonna paste. So let's see, how many do we need? We need 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3, 4. All right, so I'm just gonna duplicate this 4 more times. And I'm also going to go ahead and fill in the data for them. We've already done this when we're creating the Canvas app. So it's the same process. We're just going to create new labels and then change, modify the settings. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. And so I've changed the gallery labels for rats. Everything face follows their gallery headers. So age follows age labels width, and the text. So once you're done with all that, we need to add one more thing here, and that's going to be an icon. So I'm just going to click on the gallery so that the whole thing is highlighted. And let's add an icon. I usually just add the first icon. And once it comes in, I believe it should be all the way on the left side. Let's drag it over to, oh, you know what? Let's use position to position it. So we're going to use .x. So with that, our icon should be all the way on the right next to our position. And I'm going to do some adjustments to our icon. First of all, well, we're going to use right. Okay, and then I want to adjust this a little bit. I guess this will be fine. Let's just adjust it manually. I wanted to adjust it using the properties, but we can adjust it manually. It's part of the beauty of. And then let's rename this for consistency. Okay, so with that, our gallery should be ready. And this is how our gallery is going to look like. Now, the only thing we need to adjust is going to be the behavior of the gallery. So just like we did for the headers, there are going to be some fields that are going to be appearing. So I know we want the medical condition and medical treatment to disappear if it's a tablet. So we'll start with the medical condition. So once you click on that, just go to the left tab and click on the visible portion. And inside the visible, put in the code. All right, so for the medical condition, we want it to be visible only for a desktop and then not visible for the other ones. So that's what this code does. Do the same thing for the medical treatment. Put the same code for the visible. And then for the icon, the enter icon, put true and visible. True for desktop and invisible for the rest. Okay, so with that, we should have a fully responsive application that changes based on the size of the screen. There are still some adjustments we need to do. For example, for our text value, let's just change this real quick. All right, so we're going to use this formula for animals ready for foster. Currently, we have no animals ready for foster, and that's why it's saying 0. I want to make some more modifications, and you can come along with me and make the modifications. But at this point, we have a fully responsive app. But if you want to come along with me and learn some more modifications, let's jump ahead and do it. And I'm going to start with the gallery. I want to do some modifications to the gallery. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go straight to the gallery, and there is a property called template fill. I'm going to change this to, all right, so we're going to leave that looking like that. So if this item is selected, the color is going to change based on that. And then I'm sure you guys have been wondering what's going on with this night theme here. Well, let's modify that. So click on the checkbox and we're going to modify the, so the unchanged property is going to be set app theme if theme checkbox.checked custom or default. And the reason why we're doing that, if you remember in the beginning, when we went to the app screen, we put in a formula for the on-start screen where we set up a variable called set var app theme and we called it custom. This is going to be our custom theme that we're putting inside our model-driven app. So this is when we were creating the variable. Now coming back to the checkbox, when the box is checked, what it's saying is that if it is checked, set the app theme to be custom, if not set it to be default. The default theme is the default theme that comes with the application. So this is how we're going to adjust the color of the screen based on the theme. So click on the home screen and select the fill property. So for the fill property of the home screen, change the formula to, and once you hit that, hit save. Okay, at this point, let's publish this and then give it a test run. See what we got. So we'll hit play, and I'm gonna first test our theme changing. Okay, so the theme is changing. If you unclick it, it changes. If you click it, it changes. And then for our gallery, if we move from one gallery to another, it visually indicates because of our, I'm gonna change it back to the light theme. And you can adjust this as much as you want. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to stop here. In the next video, we are going to work on the second page, which is going to be the foster screen. Let me see if this filter should be working. Yep, it's also working. The filter is also working. And if you want to filter nothing, just filter by name. So go back to everything. All right, so this is where we're going to stop the video. And next video, we're going to continue with the creation of the second page, because this is the first page. This is just the home screen. We need another page so that the foster family can be able to take out an animal for foster care. And that's also going to be dynamic. So looking forward to the next video. Thank you for joining me. See you in the next video. Goodbye.